Welcome to episode 9 of the EV Weekly Wrap. My name is Roland and I'm here to talk to you guys, or to give you guys the summary of all things EV that's happened around Australia and the world as a recap in one episode. So let's get straight into it. So, first thing I want to mention is a big shout out to Future Drive Auto. There's an electric SUV Expo happening in Melbourne right now. It's on today. It was on today, Friday, and it'll happen over the weekend as well. So Saturday and Sunday. And a big shout out and congratulations for both Zeekr and Xpeng for finally debuting their cars. You can see here these are screenshots essentially from the Future Drive Auto website. So you'll be able to see the Zeekr X there. You'll be able to see the Xpeng X9, which I'll touch on shortly, Xpeng S2, P7, G9, and the G6. And I think you'll be able to drive some of these cars as well. If you jump onto the website, you guys can have a look at that. But just wanted to call out because we've had so much news with these two brands over the past 9 episodes essentially. I wanted to make sure that you guys are aware that you can actually see these cars in person in Melbourne. So if you do go look at it, make sure you take some snaps, tag me on X or put on Instagram. Would love to see and hear about it. And if you have gone already, let me know what you thought of the show. Anyways, let's start moving on through the news. So, first things first, I received a email earlier in the week. We covered this off a couple of weeks ago around EV Autocharge being open to a smaller cohort of users. It is now available to the wider audience. It's available to everyone. And so here's essentially the email. You can pause it here if you want to read into more of the information, but I will also put a link up and also in the description below. I did already create a video and we did go and test it and it worked quite smoothly, so it was all good in my eyes. So that's EV Autocharge. Next thing, there's going to be a new electric car charging maps in the works, and it's going to have apparently real-time charger availability. So supposedly it's a part of what you can see here, which is the National Electric Vehicle Strategy. It's essentially going to be delivered final quarter of 2024, so still a couple of months away, and it's being produced by a private sector, so it could show what chargers are available in real time, also in the works. So fingers crossed it's going to be really useful. It'd be really interesting to see how the user interface is, and I really hope that it's going to be something that's really simple to use and gives you all the insights that you need, because with all of the chargers coming up, we know that there's a lot of different charging networks. You know, we've got EV that was just covered off there, there's ChargeFox, then you've got some of the NRMA ones, which some of them we know we can access from ChargeFox as well. We know we've got the Tesla Supercharging network. You know, there's a lot more brands out there these days, and it's just good to actually have one central location. So I really support this one. So it'd be really exciting to see, and I'll keep you guys posted when we hear more. Alright, next one here, Porsche Taycan. So the new 2025 range is essentially here. It's landed in Australia this week already, and you can see there it is a lot of money. So it starts at just over $175,000, and remember that's before on-road costs, so you got to slap on a lot of other costs on there, like luxury car tax, stamp duty, and so forth. So you're looking at probably around $200,000 drive away. And if you guys aren't aware, Porsche has a long list of options when it comes to buying their cars, and so those prices you could easily add tens of thousands of dollars to it. So yeah, either way, you can see over here that there is a whole new list of standard equipment for MY25 in the base models, and you can pause the screen over here if you guys want to actually have a look at all of the different specs that I've laid out here, thanks to carexpert.com.au. So essentially the cheapest or the entry level through to the fastest and the best model, which is the Taycan Turbo S, and 0 to 100 claimed there 4.8 all the way down to 2.4 seconds. So ridiculously fast cars, and for me personally, I think is probably one of the most beautiful looking cars out there. That along with the the Audi RS e-tron GT. Again, I know that they're pretty much the same chassis, but yeah. I also do hope that Porsche will sell these pretty well, because based on the VFAX, it doesn't look like they're selling too well, and there's always more competition coming. And speaking of competition, we're going to jump through to the next one. And the next one here is essentially Lotus's version of the Taycan competitor. So Australian pricing has been released as the first bunch of demonstrator models arrive in local showrooms. So previously it was supposed to be actually arriving sometime in 2025, but apparently they're 6 months ahead of schedule, which is fantastic. Now, price you can see there from just under $190,000 and it goes up to just under $260,000, all excluding on-road costs. So obviously we have to add the taxes on top of that. And again, you can see all the stats that I've listed out there. It goes from 4.15 seconds down to 2.87. All of them have the 102 kilowatt hour battery. The great thing with Lotus is it was always known as a driver's car, and apparently for this one as well, it's got low center of gravity, it's got a perfect 50-50 weight distribution. That essentially means front and rear, the weight balance is perfect, so it's going to corner, it's going to handle really well. Now, with Porsche Taycans having, I guess, a lower number of sales, and this also entering the market, it'd be really interesting to see how well these cars are going to sell over the next 12 months. So, fingers crossed, we'll have to see. But what do you guys think of the car? I think it looks absolutely amazing as well. I think they've done really well. The headlights look really sleek, and I really love the carbon fiber on these seats. I think they look absolutely amazing. But yeah, that's the Lotus Emeya. Alright, let's jump over to smart number 5. So you guys may recall I've been covering off the smart number 1, the smart number 3. Now we're looking at the smart number 5. So obviously it is going to be the biggest car in their range, at least in the short term. And the best thing about this news is that we are going to have the global reveal on the 28th of August this month. So it's in a couple of weeks' time. And it'll be in Australia. So I don't know specifically where, but apparently Australia is going to be where they do the global reveal. So pricing is obviously expected to be higher than the number 1 and the number 3, which currently in terms of the information, it's going to be about $55,000 to about $71,000 for the smart number 1 and smart number 3. So it's probably going to be above those figures since it's going to be a bigger car as well. Who knows in terms of the final cost? We're not clear on that, so it could potentially be 6 figures, not too sure. Fingers crossed for a Brabus version though, because we always love a good tuned Brabus or a modified version that looks a lot sleeker and potentially faster. Either way, watch your space, I'll keep you guys posted. Alright, now, I'm not going to go through this slide again, but it was just for me to mention that Xpeng G9, G6 are confirmed for Australia. As I mentioned earlier, you can see these cars at the Melbourne Future Drive Auto Expo, but the one that I wanted to cover off, the one that's kind of snuck through, was the Xpeng X9. So this car has actually been updated, and it is actually on Xpeng Australia's website right now, and it is a car that you guys can see at the Melbourne show, so it's something to look forward to. They are kind of selling this one as a electric people mover, which is fantastic. 0 to 100 in supposedly 5.7 seconds, 702 kilometers CLTC range. Has active rear wheel steering, and what that means is the rear actually turns as well. So as you turn the front wheels, the rear also turns invertedly the opposite way, so that if you're turning left, for example, there is less steering that you'll have to do because the back wheels turn as well. So that's really cool to see, because it'll help navigate through tighter places a lot easier, considering the length of the car. You can see here it's 5.293, so it's really long. The Kia Carnival, from memory, 5.155. Then you've got the Zeekr 009, which is about 5.2 something, 5.28 I think off the top of my head, and this is 5.293, so even longer. In terms of other specs, so apparently it's got 23 speaker X Opera sound system, one touch convenient entry into the third row, that's entry and exit. Supposedly it's got best in-class 2-in-1 electric storage, and this car is going to also be at the Melbourne show. So if you guys see that, let me know what you guys think, because I'd love to hear what you guys think of it. Unfortunately I'm not there, so I won't be able to see it in person. Hopefully it comes to Sydney and then I'll get to show you guys. But look, the stats are all here. You can see there is a single motor, there is also a dual motor. The 5.7 seconds isn't amazingly quick, but I guess for a people mover being all-wheel drive, I think that's perfectly acceptable, and it's going to it's probably going to sell pretty well. hopefully, when it comes over here. But yeah, I'll keep you guys posted. There's no other specs. Everything, all the specs that you guys see here essentially is all from the Chinese market or the China market. So none of that is confirmed here yet. So when we hear more, I'll keep you guys posted. Alright, Geely E5. Now, Geely Group actually just posted earlier on in the week that the E5 was just launched for the global market. And that was just last weekend. And then, funny enough, August 6th, which was actually just about 3 days ago, this was already spotted in Melbourne. So that's credit to Reddit user Cool Guy Jensen. But how amazing is that? So we get the official launch on the weekend, and then a couple of days later, it's already spotted here in Australia. So that goes to show how a lot of car manufacturer, or at least a lot of the Chinese brands that are coming to Australia, how serious Australia is in the market. So it's really good to see. Look, there's no confirmed specs for Australia yet, and we don't really have too much more information, but those are essentially the pictures that have been spotted. And yeah, let me know what you guys think. Do you like the car? Do you not? Again, it's probably like another Model Y size vehicle, so more competition. It's fantastic. Alright, next thing. A good friend, Tom, Ludicrous Feed. BYD Seal Digital Key phone and watch. So the digital key function is now available. So how good is that? So no longer will you need to carry a key around. You can use your phone and or watch, and you'll be able to operate your vehicle. So just in case you guys didn't know, and you do have a BYD Seal, there you go, get it set up. It's not confirmed yet as far as I recall, in terms of online reading for the Atto 3 or the Dolphin, but hopefully it comes to you guys soon. Alright, let's continue moving on. Now, on the topic of BYD Seals, you may recall that I posted this a couple of weeks ago, and we were essentially talking about the new Seal 07 that was due to launch. It was delayed in August, and it does feature LiDAR, which is this bit up here, and that is to support City NOA, which is navigate on autopilot. So we jump through to the next slide. The new 2025 BYD Seal arrived in dealers in China before the launch, which was scheduled for yesterday. So this was just a couple of days ago. Official launch was yesterday. It's got a new body color, 800 volt architecture, other enhancements as well. You'll see, or you'll notice that there is a new interior, or new freshly designed interior, and then it also does have the LiDAR. The pictures here don't show the LiDAR, but they definitely do have that option in there. And then, yeah, what else can I say? You've got your rear-wheel drive, you've got your all-wheel drive performance one. It's about a 61.44 kilowatt hour battery, and there's also a 80.64 kilowatt hour battery, and estimated range is about I think in the 500s to 600s CLTC, so it'd be a bit less than that in terms of real world driving. So what do you guys think? They've made the wheels look a little bit different as well, so it's sort of like a midlife update, or it's a refresh as opposed to an absolutely new version of it. But I think it looks good overall. Alright, let's move on to the next one. So Kia EV4. So down over here on the bottom right, I think that was called the KR4. That was a concept car that they've unveiled sometime last year, I believe. And over here on the left, you can see that that's pretty much been spotted. So if you look at the front and the sides, it pretty much looks like that. So we think that's probably going to be called the EV4. The wheels definitely look the same. There's no other confirmed details of it, so that's really all the information we have, but it's exciting to see that there's another one coming from Kia. Alright, and that kind of takes us to the next one. So there's even more news from Kia. So this is the EV6 GT. So it's been spotted in Europe. It was spied testing. It's expected to have some of the performance offered in the current Ioniq 5N. Nothing is confirmed, but what you can see is some pretty big brakes over here. You can see tow bar, so they're obviously preparing it to make sure that you can drive around with it. You could also tow things with it as well, and hopefully these brakes perform pretty well as well. So yeah, that's essentially the EV6 GT. There's nothing else that's confirmed so far in terms of specs, so it's something that we'll just have to monitor closely, and I'll bring it to you guys once we hear more. Alright, on to some news from Tesla. So Tesla's actually got a train. Can you guys believe that? So you can see down here, I've put a snippet of it here. So basically, Tesla's all-electric Gigatrain will transport employees at the Gigafactory in Berlin, in Germany, and it was launched earlier this week. So it'll transport the staff members to and from to the station. That's pretty cool. I didn't even know that they were working on something like that, but I figured, it's Tesla at the end of the day, so that's some more news for you guys. Then this here was actually just posted this morning from Sawyer Merritt. So Tesla has introduced a 3-year bundle for the Model S and the X in the US and Canada for $5,000. So you can see here it's a configurable option. It includes free supercharging, FSD supervised, and premium connectivity. So instead of just buying FSD supervised for $8,000, you'll still need to obviously pay for supercharging and premium connectivity on top of that. Or you could do a 3-year bundle, sort of like a lease, I guess, for $5,000. So what would you guys do? My initial thought was, are there any limitations to supercharging as an example? Because, people that drive, think like Uber or car sharing, how would that work? Supposedly, there is no limitation, so you could supercharge as much as you want. So that potentially could be worthwhile for some people if you are paying $3,000 less than buying the actual thing. And then recently, there's been lots of discussions coming up or resurfacing around bi-directional charging. Now, this person here, Manfred, I don't even know how to say the last name, I don't want to butcher it, but Manfred, who's the CEO of Ambibox DC Technology, has proven that it really works, especially on the Tesla Model Y 2024 model. So you can see that they've been receiving lots of private messages. What they're saying is it can discharge at 10 kilowatts and it's no problem for the battery. And then there's also another question to say that was there anything that's changed in the car? And Sandy Munro once said that someone had to resolder something beforehand. No, it was all standard stuff that was used. And then of course there's a question here around why doesn't Tesla itself enable bi-directional charging? They're saying no idea. So supposedly the car itself can already handle it. So fingers crossed that it's going to be opened up to consumers sometime soon. From a business side of things, logically speaking, it doesn't make sense for Tesla to do that because that would kind of diminish their sales for the Powerwall, especially if Powerwall 3 is coming. That's just purely my opinion. What do you guys think about that? But it'll be exciting times, and it's great to see that the Tesla Model Y at the minimum is already ready for bi-directional charging, so that's pretty exciting. Alright, let's move on. Other social media updates. So, figured I'd put some stats here, which is quite interesting. It's in the world of EVs, and it's 2 brands that I personally really like, but are not here in Australia yet. So you can see here Rivian and Lucid. I like Rivian more than Lucid, but either way, in terms of dollars spent and revenue and so forth, you can see over here that Rivian lost $32,705 for every vehicle that they delivered in Q2 versus in Q1 $38,000. So $6,000 less loss per vehicle. And then you can see this is comparing 2 years ago, or almost 2 years ago, Q4 2022, it was $124,000. So I guess they're on the right trajectory. I hope they do last, and I hope they do make it, and I hope one day we do get to see the Rivian brand in Australia. Then you can see over here research and development, $1 billion spent by Tesla in the quarter, Rivian 428 mil and Lucid 287 mil. Revenue over here, big difference between Tesla and Rivian obviously. And then you can see in terms of net income / loss, there's still a fair bit of loss here for Rivian, but as you can see from the quarters here, they are definitely improving, and Tesla's still on top compared to these 3 brands. And then on the right hand side over here, Ford Mustang Mach-E has set a new Guinness World Record by travelling 569.64 miles, which is 916.74 kilometers on a single charge. So some of the stats or specs of them being able to achieve this is down here. 91 kilowatt hour unit on the single motor, and apparently it'd been driving for 24 hours, which means average speed of no more than 38.2 kilometers per hour. So in my eyes, just imagine if you are in Sydney, or actually whichever city you are in Australia, if you're sitting in peak hour traffic and you're going to be doing that for 24 hours. That's probably how they were driving. So I think that's nuts. Look, kudos to them, and it's great that, you know, they've been able to set a Guinness World Record. But I could not imagine being the person driving there 24 hours at under 40 k's an hour. That's painful. Alright, let's jump over to our last page. So what you guys see here is essentially the Dodge Charger Daytona. So Dodge, traditionally being an American brand, is known to have crazy big V8 powerful engines, loud superchargers, loud exhausts, Hemi engines as they call it, and they've released they're releasing an EV version in the top spec. And I thought it was funny to put it here because this goes to show the type of following they essentially have, and look at the comments that are coming. So whilst they're excited being able to launch an EV, their followers essentially are upset, or their fans are upset. So look at some of these comments and look at the number of likes. It's actually quite high, it's in the thousands. This is embarrassing, we don't hear anything, we want real V8 noises, something wrong with speaker, y'all put speakers on this microwave and make it sound like it has an engine, we want Hemis. And you know what, if you guys can find this post, scroll down, it does, the comments are just outrageous. But Dodge clearly look like they're targeting the wrong market by doing it like this. And all they did really in this, so it's an actual video, and all they're doing is, you'll see the car going through the tunnel, there's no change of gears, it's just a bit of electric noise that mimics a V8, but there's no rumble or anything like that. So what do you guys think? Alright, and that brings us to the end of another episode. Again, and as always, if you guys enjoyed watching this, let me know in the comments actually. We've done this for 9 weeks now, and I'd really love to get you guys' thoughts. Should we continue this, or should we stop? Should we tweak it? Do you guys prefer these as I guess shorts every time something new comes up, or do you prefer a full wrap review at the end of the week to cover everything off? Either way, if you guys did watch it and you did enjoy it, please give it a like, consider subscribing to my channel, as it's going to help me get a long way. And we're really close to that 1,000 mark. So yeah, anyway, hope you guys are well, take care, and we'll see you soon for another video.